Okay, let's continue our Thanksgiving quiz. Again, if you haven't seen the previous videos, please go and do so. It will help give you a good background and history of our nation in reference to Thanksgiving and its godly foundations. Now I want to talk about how did the Pilgrims organize their economic activities. I think this is an interesting subject, especially for today that we're living in, and you'll see why. After the first year, the colony foundered because of the collective economic system forced upon them by the merchants in London. All the settlers worked only for the joint partnership and were fed out of the common stores. The land and the houses built on it were the joint property of the merchants and colonists for 7 years and then divided equally. Well, I guess we can see how today some of the socialist, communist movements in our government trying to reestablish something that failed not only in the founding of this nation but in many other countries. When Deacon Carver died, William Bradford became governor. Seeing the failure of communal farming, he instituted what today would be called free enterprise innovations. Now, Bradford assigned plots of land to each family to work, and the colony began to flourish. Each colonist was challenged to better themselves and their land by working to the fullest capacity. Many Christian historians and economists today point to this fundamental economic change as one of the key reasons for the success of the Pilgrims at Plymouth. So I guess that gives us a good example of free enterprise, and you just can't sit back and divide everything based on what some people do or don't do, but you get out and work for yourselves. Now, what has been the significance of the Pilgrims and their legacy of Thanksgiving? On the bicentennial celebration of the landing of the Pilgrims at Plymouth Rock, Daniel Webster, on December 22nd, in 1820, declared the following: "Let us not forget the religious character of our origin. Our fathers were brought hither by their higher veneration for the Christian religion. They journeyed by its light, labored in its hope. They sought to incorporate its principles with the elements of their society and to diffuse its influence through all their institutions, civil, political, and literary." The legacy of the Pilgrims and Thanksgiving is the legacy of godly men and women who sought to bring Christian principles to this nation. This spread throughout the nation for centuries. Now, how were Christian principles brought to the founding of this republic? Most historians will acknowledge that America was born in the midst of a revival. This occurred from approximately 1740 to 1770 and was known as the First Great Awakening. Two prominent preachers during that time were Jonathan Edwards, best known for his sermon, "Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God," and George Whitefield. They preached up and down the East Coast and saw revival break out. Churches were planted, schools were built, and lives were changed. Next time I want to talk about how this Christian ideas influenced our Constitution. Okay, but as always, go back and look at the previous videos, and be blessed and keep your eyes on Jesus.